Let's talk about your local home builders association. What if I told you it could be way more than just the host of a great annual event? What if it could be a year-round marketing powerhouse? That's exactly what we're going to dive into today. A huge shift in thinking that can totally transform how HBAs connect with their communities.
Yeah, this is the big idea right here. It might sound bold, but honestly, it gets right to the heart of this massive untapped opportunity. We're talking about taking all that incredible value your association has and putting it to work, not just for a weekend, but every single day of the year. Okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page, HBA stands for Home Builders Association. These are the folks who really champion the local building industry. They're all about promoting quality, professionalism, and most importantly, connecting the community with its most trusted members. So, if we're going to unlock that powerhouse potential, we've got to figure out where it comes from, right? Every HBA has this kind of hidden power, an untapped asset that's just sitting there but is incredibly valuable to the community. Let's dig in and find out what it is. It's trust. Simple as that. It is the single most valuable, non-negotiable asset an HBA has. I mean, think about it. In an industry where credibility is everything, that HBA brand is like a powerful shortcut for quality and integrity. When people see that logo, it actually means something. It's a seal of approval you just can't buy. Okay, so that brings us to what I call the event-only marketing trap. If this trust is so crazy valuable, why do so many HBAs rely only on seasonal events? Why isn't that enough to really leverage it? Why does this incredible asset so often just sit there, underutilized? And look, don't get me wrong. Home shows, parades of homes, charity golf tournaments, they're all fantastic. They're absolutely successful initiatives. They are the cornerstones of what an HBA does. They build community, they generate a ton of buzz, and they showcase incredible member talent. There's no question about how important they are. But what happens when the event ends? What happens on Monday morning after the home show wraps up, or in all those weeks and months between the parade of homes? Well, the visibility, the buzz, that authority, it all starts to fade. It basically goes dormant until the next big thing on the calendar. And that's the thing about event-based marketing. Its impact is temporary, right? It reaches a specific, valuable audience, for sure. But then its authority just fades away. Now just imagine the alternative. An always-on presence. One that reaches the entire community and keeps that HBA authority and trust going strong 365 days a year. So the big question is, how do we get there? How do we bridge that gap from temporary buzz to sustained influence? Well, it all starts with a pretty fundamental change in mindset. It's about adopting a digital-first philosophy. This is what shifts an HBA from just being an event marketer to becoming a true community leader. Here's the best way to think about it. A home show that never ends. That's it. That's the core idea. Just imagine taking all the energy, all the expertise, all the amazing connections from your very best event and making it all accessible to the public, whenever they want it, 24/7. That's the vision. And the path to getting there is actually a really simple but powerful three-step process. You've probably heard this before. Like, know, and trust. First, you create valuable, interesting content that gets the community to like you. Then, you showcase your members' amazing stories and expertise, so the public can really get to know them. And finally, through all that consistency, you become the go-to default resource that they trust. Okay, so the philosophy is great, right? It makes sense. But what are the actual tools that make this a reality? Let's get into the nuts and bolts. We're going to look at the digital toolkit that's designed to build and maintain that year-round authority and turn this whole vision into a real working strategy. The solution really comes down to two core components that work together beautifully. First, you've got the HBA-branded website. This becomes your central hub for authority, the credible go-to resource for the community. And then you have an interactive digital magazine. This is your permanent home show, the place where you tell all those amazing member stories in a really modern, engaging way. And when you combine these two things, something really cool happens. The HBA's role in the community just fundamentally transforms. You're not just an event marketer anymore. No way. You become the community's definitive thought leader on literally everything related to home and building. And this whole strategic shift, it creates a true win-win. It's awesome for everybody. So let's break down the specific, tangible benefits. What's in it for the association itself? And just as importantly, what's in it for every single one of its members? All right, first, for the association, the advantages here are huge. The biggest impact, by far, is a major boost to its brand authority, really cementing its role as the industry leader. But right behind that, you've got new sustainable revenue streams, a really powerful tool for attracting new members, and of course, a dramatic increase in public awareness. Think about it this way. The old model relies heavily on event sponsorships, and those are great, but they're seasonal, right? This new model doesn't get rid of that. It adds to it. It puts a whole new, consistent layer of digital sponsorship and advertising opportunities on top, opportunities that aren't tied to one specific weekend on the calendar.
And what about the members? Oh, the value for them is just immense. They get year-round visibility, not just for a weekend at the home show. Their credibility gets a huge boost just by being featured on the HBA's trusted digital platform. They get a professional online presence without having to do any extra work, and that gives them a massive competitive advantage. This is what elevates HBA membership from just a networking group to a powerful marketing engine for their business.
So, let's bring it all home. That trust your HBA has spent years, maybe even decades, building in your community, it's absolutely priceless. It is your single greatest asset, bar none. So the only question left is, are you really leveraging it every single day? Or are you just letting it sit on the shelf, collecting dust between events?